Hello and welcome back to the Simplifiers podcast, where we take topics in work and life and simplify them. And friends, I'm just so giddy over here. I just have to say it out loud that I am thrilled to interview my next guest today because, well, okay, here's the truth. I have probably been talking about their company for about the last 4 years, so you already know who it is. It's Dr. J.J. Peterson of StoryBrand, and he is going to simplify today how to create a simple, effective sales funnel for your business so you can get things rolling again, bring in the right clients into your business as the world starts to reopen. Well, if you don't know about Dr. J.J. Peterson, let me just tell you, since 2013, he has been using the StoryBrand framework to help thousands of organizations all around the world clarify their message in order to grow their business. He's got a PhD in communications, no big thing, right? But he's also spent the last 20 years practicing and teaching communication theory. Everything from C.S. Lewis in Oxford, he's directed a documentary, served in marketing and PR for 2 multinational nonprofit organizations, and spoken to thousands of people around the world on how to create a clear message. And he is now the senior director of StoryBrand, and of course, facilitates StoryBrand workshops and keynotes, helping people grow their business. So, I'd like to welcome to the Simplifiers podcast, Dr. J.J. Peterson. Hey, J.J.
Wow. Hi, Mary. It's so glad to be here. And I feel like I need to take you with me everywhere now. First off, your energy. And second off, you made me sound really smart.
You are really smart. I have to say this for the record. And, here's the thing. StoryBrand, we have been using it here at the Simplifiers for years and years and years now. And it really fundamentally changed how we market our business. I'm just going to say that right out the gate. So,
that's so cool.
And it's true. And I know that you help so many companies, big and small, with the stuff that you do. So, we're going to talk about marketing today, and specifically sales funnels as well, and not some fancy jargon, not some crazy 20-step process to do it, because I think a lot of small business owners, they go, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but then never actually do it, right?
Yes.
So we're going to break it down from. And so here's where I want to start. Softball question. Okay. What's the difference between marketing and sales in your mind?
Wow. So marketing is inviting customers into a relationship. Mm-hmm. Sales is really kind of the final step in that relationship. Now, they do kind of work together, obviously, really well, and they rely on each other a lot. Like if you have your marketing does have to help close the sale, but really marketing is about inviting customers into a relationship. Mm-hmm. And the mistake that a lot of people make when they're getting ready to do that is, if you were going on a date with somebody, you don't usually ask them to marry you on the first date.
No, now, probably a bad idea.
Yeah. Now, we've heard of people who that happened, and it worked, but that's such the rarity. Mm. You get to know somebody, and then you spend some time with them, and then ultimately you close the deal, right? Yeah. You ask them to marry you. And it's the same thing with marketing. The biggest mistake people make is all of a sudden they'll try to do buy now, and sell without any kind of relationship. And that may work for some things that are kind of like everybody needs shoes. That's kind of if we have a sale, I'm getting shoes. But when you have other kind of services or unique brands or that people need to get to know a little bit and kind of join your tribe, you need to do marketing. Mm-hmm. And marketing really consists of, I would say, there are 3 levels of relationship. And this is true for any relationship, but especially in marketing.
Yep.
There is curiosity, enlightenment, and commitment. And so curiosity is just a very simple, so what do you do? Who are you? What's going on? That's like first date questions that you would ask.
Yes.
You need to think of that the beginning phase of your marketing funnel needs to cover those kinds of questions. What do you do? How does it make my life better? And how do I get it? Just very, very simple, high level. Then when you get people to be curious about you, then you actually want to enlighten them. And the way you enlighten them is through a longer website, through sales emails or nurturing emails, what we call, or lead generators. That's enlightenment. And then ultimately, you have to ask for the sale. You have to say, hey, I have something that can solve your problem. And ask them to buy with confidence.
Yes.
In the same way that, like, in a relationship, if I was to get down on one knee and propose to my partner and say, so, if you'd like some more information, call me later. Or, if you have any questions, then feel free to reach out. Like, I don't want to pressure, but, no, that's what we do with a lot of our sales and marketing is we just kind of go, well, now it's up to you. No, be confident. Ask for the buy, close the relationship, because that shows that you are confident that your product has something of value to offer to your customer. So that's what I would say is kind of the difference, a little bit of the difference between marketing and sales. Marketing is inviting people into relationship. Sales is closing the deal.
Yes. Okay. So we have to unpack all of that. And first off, I want to clarify, like, this is not necessarily just for massive organizations that have massive marketing budgets. So, graphic designer with a handful of virtual assistants or a wedding planning firm with 3 or 4 employees, this applies to you too, right?
Yes. Oh, hugely. And in fact, here's the thing, is I think a lot of organizations, so you asked the question, is there a difference between marketing and sales? And there is, but there's also a difference between marketing and branding. So a lot of people, when they get into business, focus on their logo and their colors and creating a vibe and a mood board, for everything. And that's branding. And branding is good. But branding is all about how you make people feel.
Yes.
Marketing, it answers the 3 questions I said in the curiosity. Marketing answers, what do you do? How does it make my life better? And how do I get it?
Yes.
And so many people, when they start out in business as entrepreneurs, they think they have to get all these great colors and this great logo and this beautiful website. And they skip over marketing. They skip over answering the basic questions that invites people into a relationship, and they end up wasting a ton of money. And so I actually think until you're at I'll say $50 million phase, let branding be an afterthought. Like, you don't need to go hire a huge, spend a little bit of money on a logo, spend a little bit of money on the design of the website, but focus on getting your marketing right, which the marketing is having a clear message. People need to know why they need to buy from you.
Yes.
If they don't, then they're not going to, people want to be cute and clever. Be clear first. Clarity first. Cute and clever second.
Yeah, the analogy that I use a lot with my clients is you don't go and buy the curtains for your bedroom if you've not built the house first.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like it's like getting the throw pillows and the curtains, but you don't even know the dimension of the window. You're just like, I think these would be really cute, and this would make it look really nice. It's the same. Marketing is part of, and you guys talk about it in your framework with the airplane. Like, it's one of the engines in an airplane to make the business and it fly, right?
Yep, exactly.
So I want to back up here and specifically talk about what you said earlier. So why is it important for a small business to even have a sales funnel in the first place? Like, why do they need one of them? And what stops most people from doing it?
Well, I think the main thing that stops people is that they feel overwhelmed by it. It's very complicated. They go, well, I didn't have a degree in marketing. I love designing clothes.
Yes.
Or, I want my flower shop to thrive, but I never went to school for copywriting and marketing. And the reality is, it's actually much simpler than people think.
Yeah.
And when you stick with the simplicity of it, and you actually can be more clear, you're more clear with your messaging, you're more clear with your emails, you're more clear with your website, and you're going to close more deals. So don't be overwhelmed. Everybody who's listening right now, do not be overwhelmed by the idea of like, sales funnel. That's going to take me years to create. It's going to take thousands and thousands of dollars to hire somebody else to. And if you want to, you can hire people to do that for you. But I think at its most basic level, you can have the tools to create a clear message and invite people into a relationship. Right. And so don't be overwhelmed by it. And the reason why it's so important to be clear and have a very simple message is the last statistic I saw is that most people are receiving between 3,000 to 5,000 commercial messages a day.
It's wild.
So we are just overwhelmed with, and that's just commercial messages. That's not all the other information that's out there or the stuff that we just encounter walking down the street, but 3,000 to 5,000 commercial messages. The messages that are going to stick are the ones that are going to be clear. And so people can have an inferior product and have a clear message and they're going to beat you in the marketplace. That's the thing that really actually makes me mad is I run into business owners who I'm like, I love what you're doing. I'm so excited about it. And there's somebody else down the block who is not doing good things. They're not doing things ethically. They're not making the world a better place. And they're beating them in the marketplace because their message is more clear. Yeah. A clear message is going to win every time. And so what we use to bring clarity is story. Story is what it really is a sense-making device, right? So think about just in the most simple terms, like if you were to say to me, like, I go, well, I throw out all these statistics, 5% of our people are doing this. And you go, well, what does that mean? Yeah. And then I tell you a story to point meaning to the statistic, right? I go, well, let me tell you about Jen. Jen is a person who did it, right? Yeah. I tell a story because it gives context and it gives meaning. It actually organizes our thinking. Yeah. A story tells you what you need to be, what's important. You only tell the important details of the story. If somebody, if you sit down and somebody's telling a story about their first date in high school and they all of a sudden start with, okay, so I went upstairs and I put my shoes on. Now, my shoes were a little muddy because I had actually been to this. No, that's not a good story, right? And there's so much information. You're just telling the most important things that you want people to focus on. Yes. Well, that's what story can do for your marketing. Story can help focus the information that you want your customers to understand and show them why it's important for them to pay attention. That's all story does. People go, well, I'm not a good storyteller. I'm not a good writer. I don't know how to write stories. No. Think of it. Everybody does this. We just do it naturally. You are a storyteller. You know how to tell stories. All it is, a story at its most basic form is telling people what to pay attention to because it's funny or sad or a lesson needs to be learned. We focus the information. We let go of everything else that's around us or everything else that's around the story and focus on what's important.
And I think why we as business owners or marketers overcomplicate this stuff is because we feel this need and urge to give you all the details, because when we give you all the details, you will see us as an expert in our field. So we throw all the things to you, and then the receiver is just like, whoa, this is too much. I don't know what to focus on. It's like having ADHD at a carnival with a bazillion lights around, it's just too much. And so I think you as the marketer, as the business owner, have to go, okay, pause. That didn't work. So what if we gave them 10% of what we've been throwing at them lately and actually do less? And like you say, just focus on one specific story, one specific call to action, one specific product as well. And then it makes the decision-making process on their side very easy. They go,
so easy.
You are this, and you specialize in this, and you can help me with this, and here's how I contact you. Right?
Exactly.
I got this.
Yeah, and you do. And again, think of it like a dating relationship. If you went on the first date and all of a sudden you're like, well, here's all of my baggage and here's where I want to be in 10 years. And these are the children's names that I picked out. And these are my father issues. Like you can't then no, you go, oh my gosh, you like chocolate? I love chocolate too. We have so much in common, right? Yeah. That's like on a first date, you're answering first date questions. Yes. And it goes back to that thing where I was saying, I think for me, when I learned all of this stuff, I could just drop my shoulders as a marketer and go, okay, take a breath. You don't need to get everything out there. All you need to do is make them curious curious about. When you're talking in a dating world, obviously it's like, are we interested? But in the marketing world, you're really just answering those two questions. What do you do? How does it make my life better? And how do I get it? Yes. That's it. If you start there, and that what I would call a short story.
Got it. So how we talk about it over here is like the customer buying journey. So from step 1 to close and then onboarding from there. I mean, in essence, that's a sales funnel, right? That's the customer buying journey. But you guys break it down into 5 components specifically of the sales funnel. So let's talk about those on a big picture level, and then we'll zoom in into a couple of the spaces.
Yeah. So we wrote a book called Marketing Made Simple. And because of all of the stuff that my co-author is Donald Miller, who is the creator of StoryBrand. And basically, we helped companies clarify their message through a story framework. We teach them how to create a compelling story for their business. But what we then, for my dissertation, I actually studied who does this work for? Does narrative marketing work? And the answer was, it works for everybody. Big business, small business, male, female, over 50, under 20. I mean, literally, I actually did this with my nieces who did a flower sale at my parents' garage sale the other day, and it worked, So it works for everybody, nonprofit, for-profit, and really. And then my next question was, so what makes it work better for some or others? Are there any variables in there that influence success? And the only variable, and I looked at all of those variables, the only one was whether you actually did it or not.
Yeah.
And so what we decided to do is see if people understand that they need to have a great, simple message, and everybody, like you and I are buying into that, we're going, yes, that's all you need to do. But then you go, okay, but how?
Yes.
So we decided to say, if I want to see more people be successful in their marketing, we need to make it really simple and really easy. So we boiled down the sales funnel to 5 components. A one-liner, which a one-liner just explains what you do in basically the formula I just gave you. What problem are people experiencing that you solve is kind of how it starts. What do you do to solve that problem? And what is their life like after? That's a very simple formula. It's a short story.
Yeah.
So one-liner that explains what you do, and we'll go into that a little bit more deeper at the end here. And then a website wireframe. So what does your website look like? What language is on your website you need to pay attention to?
Yep.
You need to create a lead generator to get email addresses, sales emails, and nurture emails. That's the whole funnel.
Okay.
One-liner, website, lead generator, sales emails, nurture emails.
Okay. So let's talk about the one-liner. Let's zoom into that particular. So how do we create one that really captivates and catches our prospective clients' attention?
Yeah. So one-liner is based on kind of a Hollywood. We call it a one-liner because it's based on a Hollywood formula. So when you sell a script in Hollywood, you go in to meet with the production company and they say, give us your one-liner. Basically, you have one line to explain what the movie's about. The most famous one-liner of all time is for the movie Alien. And they walked in and said, it's Jaws in space. And they sold the movie. Sigourney Weaver was not attached. There was no script. They sold the movie for millions. Jaws in space.
So genius.
And so you can actually, for business owners, can actually sell their product when people say, tell me what this is all about. We want to think of every time that somebody says, what do you do? Think of it actually as a sales opportunity to help people become curious about what you do. Most of us just go, I do marketing. Or you go, well, it's really complicated.
Yeah.
Well, if you actually want to sell something, a one-liner is a formula that gives potential customers information about why they need you. And here's how it works. There's 3 parts to it: problem, solution, results. That's the one-liner. So you have to identify what problem people are experiencing that your service can solve.
So let me pause you right there because I'm curious, is this the same as your mission statement or is it slightly different?
It's quite a bit different, actually.
Okay.
So for instance, for us, it would be many people struggle to create a clear message in their marketing because they're too close to their products and services.
Yep.
That's the problem we solve.
Yep.
If you're Sealy Posturepedic, you might say, so many people have a bad night's sleep because they don't know how to pick the right mattress, right? Or if it's somebody who sells shoes, so many people want to get in shape, but every time they run, they get shin splints.
Right.
You're naming a problem, and it can be a big, wide problem, or it can be as specific as shin splints. Either way, doesn't matter. So you start by naming that. And what that does is it positions what the rest of what you're about to say in relationship with something the person you're talking to already knows.
Got it.
Right? That's why we say Jaws in space, because we knew that we all know what Jaws is, and we can imagine that in space, right? And the other thing is that people file brands and businesses in their brains by the problem that they solve, not by the brand itself. So, and let me give you an example. If I was to say to you, Mary, I ate some bad Mexican food today. Do you have anything? What do you offer me?
I'd probably offer you some antacid or, Tums or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Tums. Now, if I said, I stayed up too late last night and I have a headache, what do you offer me?
Glass of water and 2 Advil.
Yes, right? So you have those on your brain because you know Advil solves a headache, Tums solves a stomachache.
Yep.
I don't say, I have a headache, and you go, well, I have Tums. You don't, right? You don't say that because it's filed in your brain by the problem it solves.
Right. That's true.
So when you start your one-liner explaining what you do by describing the problem you solve, it gives context for why people need you. So you start with the problem. Then you offer the solution. You say, this is what I do to solve that problem.
Yep.
And then you cast a vision for what their life is like after your customer's experienced. So let's say you're an at-home chef. Or let's say there's 2 at-home chefs at the same party. And somebody goes up to the first one and says, what do you do? And he goes, oh, I'm an at-home chef. Well, now I'm going to go, oh my gosh, well, what's your specialty? I start asking questions about them. What's your specialty? Where did you study? Have you been to Paris? Oh my gosh, my favorite food is this, right? So that person is interesting, and I'm interested in their story. But really, when you're selling products and services, it's about your customer story.
Yes.
So a better way to sell services, instead of just saying, I'm an at-home chef, is somebody says, what do you do? You say, well, what makes me really mad is when families want to eat healthy but don't feel like they have the time or energy to sit down together at the table. They just eat out all the time. Well, I'm an at-home chef who actually comes into your home, teaches you how to make meals, and gives you meal prep for the week so that your family can have a great time together and everybody eats healthy.
And that intrigues me. Yes, it intrigues me. I'm like, tell me more.
See, now story is about you.
Yes.
So versus the other story is about the chef, right? And that's the mistake that a lot of people make when they are talking about their products or services. They make themselves the hero of the story. The reality is your customers are the hero of your story. You are their guide. You are the Gandalf to their Frodo. You are the Yoda to their Luke Skywalker. You are the Haymitch to their Katniss. You are their guide. They're the hero of the story. So instead of saying, when people ask, and this is just, if people get nothing else out of this podcast, this part right here, I really want you to pay attention to, because you can do this right now.
Yes.
You can even pause it and write this down on a piece of paper. Is you can say, what problem do people experience that your service can solve? So let's say it's even like you are you sell like small batch clothing, right?
Yep.
You sell like you have a boutique. You can say so many women have a hard time finding styles that fit them that make them feel special. That's it. That's a problem. I design clothing that not only fits you perfectly, but is unique every time it's off the rack.
Yes. So
that you can feel confident in your clothing and be your best self. I just kind of making that up, but that's like 1, 2, 3. Let's say you sell homemade jam and you say, somebody goes, well, what do? You say, I just discovered that so many jams have preservatives that are really unhealthy for kids. So I decided to make a great tasting jam that was healthy so moms can be confident when they give them to their kids and their kids love it.
JJ, let me just pause you here because you are just so brilliant. And I'm not just saying that. Truly, this is such a simple thing, and we do make it really, really complicated. And so I really do encourage you guys, press pause right now, do this work, think about the greatest problem that you solve, and as you say, what the solution is, and then what the results are, what the benefit is after that. So when you have that 3-part one-liner built, how do you use it? Is it what's at the top of your website? Is it in your marketing funnel, your sales funnel itself? Or how do we go from here?
The first thing is to memorize it. Once you get it, you memorize it so that every time somebody asks you what you do, that's what you say.
Yes.
And that is it. It will be tricky at first. I'll be very honest. When I don't want to have conversations with people, I just say, I do marketing.
Great.
If I'm on a plane and I'm stuck next to somebody, I literally might say, oh, I do marketing. And then they're like, oh, that's but if I really think, oh, this could be somebody that I want to engage with and have a conversation, I use our one-liner.
Yeah.
So memorize it and be disciplined about answering the question that way. Make it conversational. It doesn't have to be rote, and don't use words that you wouldn't use in normal. I detect algorithms and help people do it. No. I help people understand how their customers are buying.
Yes.
Don't make it complicated. Just make it simple language.
Yep.
So first, memorize it. I would put it on your website. It doesn't need to be at the top, but maybe it's right after the header. It's the very first line. That's the next section. If you have a real retail space, put it on your wall. So that your team knows. Put it in your office. Yeah. And put it on your business cards. It feels a little long, but you can put it on the back of your business card. It is the email signature on my emails. So every time an email goes out, somebody is reminded over and over and over again what problem I solve and how it makes their life better. So I've gotten business off of my email signature. So that's the quickest. Make it your email signature. Put it as the bio on Twitter. Put it as a bio on LinkedIn. Put it in your retail space. Memorize it. Put it on your business cards, and make this the first part. Then this goes back to that curiosity piece. All this is designed to do is make people curious. Yeah. Really, all this needs to do is them say, "Tell me more." That's it. That's it. So and that's marketing, right? You're making people curious. You're making the story about them and you're making it curious. First step of the sales funnel.
Right. And I think about the sales funnel. I mean, if we are looking at a vertical funnel, is that there's all the people in the world. They're not in your funnel, right? They're all over here. And then at the very, very top of the funnel, they somehow hear this one-liner and they go, that perked my ears. And so then officially they're in your funnel, right? Because they're trying to see if this is the right thing for them right now, whatever problem they're trying to solve. And then they bounce to your website, right? And so theoretically, they should see very quickly their words reflected back to them, right?
Yes.
I know you guys talk about the 5-second grunt test. Can you run through that really quick on best practices for a solid, clear, simple website?
Yes. The most important piece of the website is your header. The first thing people see when they come to your website. And your website should answer the 3 questions. What do you do? How does it make my life better? And how do I get it?
Yes.
So I'll start backwards. How do I get it? You need to have calls to action on your website. What do you want them to do when they come to your website? Is it buy now? Is it shop? Is it schedule a call?
Yep.
What is it? Don't say get more information.
Yes.
Or if you have any questions, call us. That's that weak proposal, right? Yeah. You want to say shop now, buy now, schedule a call, fill out this form. Something, what is the next step you want them to take that leads towards the sale? Put that there. The language, the headline in your header should say what you do. That's it. Just most people want to write something like, if they're a business consultant, they write something like helping you reach your highest goals.
Mm-hmm. Very vague.
Well, very vague because I don't know. Are you a physical trainer? Do you do weight loss? Do you take me on hikes up to Kilimanjaro?
Right.
What do you do? So say, I'm a business coach, or your business coach to help you unlock your potential. So you can still have some of those other things, but say what it is you do. If I have to ask any questions after I read your headline, it's not clear enough.
Yep.
That's it. So if you go, some people go, well, it says consultant, and say, do you do that hourly? Do you do that weekly? Do you do that online? Be very, very clear.
So pause you there. And I want to do a check very selfishly. Our header on our website, we're business coaches, online education, and keynote speaking. Our one line at the very top of our website says, we help you simplify how you run your business and bounce back stronger than ever through COVID-19. That's what it is right now today. Yeah. It's a little long, right?
But I actually don't mind that because it is very clear. And then I would just make sure, I don't know then the subheadline.
Yep.
I would put the other the things you just said, online.
That's it. Right. And then,
how you do it.
Good question.
So how you do.
They do have to scroll a little to find that. But yeah, that's very interesting. Put that.
So I would just put those as bullet points. It doesn't even have to be a sentence, in person, online, over Zoom, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
So that I don't have any questions about how you do it. Do I have to come to you? Do you come to me? Is it, and that just, and then, so let me finish this thought.
Yes.
So that's what you want, like your headline and then your subheadline.
Yes.
So between those two things, you really want it to be super, super clear how you do it. Then right at the bottom of that, usually when people come to your page, there's like a section and it's a picture. At the bottom of that section, you want 3 benefits that they get by experiencing your services. So you want to say, grow your business, stop being frustrated, build the life you want.
Yeah.
Something like, what are the 3 things that they're going to get after working with you?
And that's like in newspaper terms, above the fold. So before they have to scroll down, they see it right at that's the 5-second Gren test you guys talk about all the time, right?
And so that's what we say. So if you have those 3 things on your website, that the first thing explains what you do have a call to action that tells them how they get it, and you have some language that says how their life is better.
Yeah.
What we would say is somebody should be able to, like a caveman, should be able to grunt back to you so simply what you do, right?
Yeah.
They answer those 3 questions. What do you do? How does it make my life better? And how do I get it? So in pre-COVID time, which now we're coming back to a little bit, is what we would say is do an experiment after you've created the language on your website and find a stranger, maybe at a coffee shop or somewhere, and say, can I buy you coffee if you'll answer just 3 questions about my website? And try to be, like, I promise I'm not selling anything. I just need some help.
Yep.
And open your computer to the header of your website, give them 3 to 5 seconds and close it. And then ask those 3 questions. What do I do? How do you get it? And how does it make your life better? If they cannot in that 3 to 5 seconds, then you need to be more clear and you need to do it quicker, because that's the average amount of time people give you on a website. That, like, the research shows, there's different research, but it's between 3 and 5 seconds. That's all you get. So if they're confused, they're overwhelmed, they don't understand where to go, all they have to do is push the back button and go back to Google and find the next thing.
Yeah,
right?
the thing that actually speaks in their language, that actually is solving their problem, people bounce. I mean, our attention is so limited now, so that you have to really get it right. And I also tell my clients, I'm sure you do the same, it's like, we get like, we have to be perfect before we can launch it. No. You just have to put a dirty first draft out there, test it, like you say there with the coffee shop analogy, but, test it, see if it delivers results, and then, have a childlike kind of mindset towards it. Okay, let's test another thing. Let's see if we get better results as a A/B test on what that header thing could say, or even the images that's behind it.
Yes, and that's one more thing just about the images is have an image. The best images are of your product, but smiley, happy people using your product or service.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like your actual product, if you're using stock footage, if you're a business consultant, have 2 people in business sitting down smiling.
Yeah.
If you sell shoes, don't just put the shoes, put people running in the shoes smiling, happy. Because there's a thing called narrative transportation that is when we see a good story, when we put ourselves in that story. So, for instance, in a movie, when you jump or when you cry because people got married at the end, you have experienced narrative transportation. The better the story, the more we are actually in the story with it. The research shows that the higher levels of narrative transportation you experience, the more likely it impacts your mind and your actions.
Yes.
So the better the story, the more impact on you. Well, that's not just true for movies. That's actually true for websites and marketing and everything. So if I am a business consultant and on your page there is a mountain top, because you're like, well, metaphorically, we take people to the mountaintops. I don't see myself in that mountain picture. Yeah. But if you see a smiling person using your product or service, I can start to imagine myself. I project myself into that story.
Yes.
That image alone can make an impact on my ability to think differently about your product and buy your product. So that's a huge mistake people make, is they try to make the header of their website cute and creative and beautiful. And while you can do that with certain products, like if you're selling earrings or you're selling clothing or even good food, but I would even those, I would argue you're going to get better engagement if you actually show smiley, happy people using your product or service.
Yeah, so smart. So I want to talk very briefly on the next three. So we've talked about one-liner, website. Step 3 of a sales funnel is your lead generator. So top tips there.
The biggest thing there is you want to offer your customers something of value in exchange for email. So a lot of people are like, download this video or sign up for our newsletter. Well, I don't know what that video or newsletter is going to do for me. So just do something like 5 tips to get unstuck in your business, or 4 ways to help your children learn better outside, or just something like that. And create like a PDF or just like an email out of that, and then get people's email. But the biggest thing about it is it has to be something of value. It has to help solve the customer's problem or move them forward in their journey.
Right. And it only solves a piece of their problems, not all of their problems. It's just a piece of the thing. So if you're a landscaping company, it maybe is 5 tips on how to conquer weeds in Texas. I'm thinking about myself, not the whole, how do I get my whole lawn to look beautiful all the time? And it's you're asking for first name and email address, not their business name, their phone number, their annual budget, their right?
Make it easy. Don't create obstacles for them to give you their email.
Got it. So then step 4 and step 5 is all about email campaigns. Step 4 is email nurture campaigns, and step 5 is email sales campaigns. What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, so I'll start with sales, because when somebody downloads your lead generator and gives you their email address, you want to put them into a sales email sequence. The easiest thing to do is the first email is basically just kind of expand your one-liner. Talk about their problems, what people experience. You found that every time you talk to people, they experience this. But not only that, it's worse. And not only that, it's worse. Well, here's what we do. This is how we solve the problem. And we have found that when people go through this process, their life looks like this, like this, like this. Just take that one-liner for the first email and just expand it. Maybe add 2 or 3 paragraphs to each, and you're done. That's all you need. Then we have a whole series of different types of emails in our book. But the easiest thing for me is to go, what are the top 4 reasons why people don't buy your product or service? And just write an email overcoming that. So if the first one is you're too expensive, you hear all the time, like, I don't know if I want to buy, you're too expensive. Then that email should be how much value you bring and how much of an investment this product is. If the second one is it takes too much time, then your second email should be, look how easy it is to do this, right? So just come up with 4 reasons why people don't buy your product and overcome that objection.
That's in 4 separate emails.
In 4 separate emails, 4 separate objections.
And I believe that people don't read nowadays, so you want to keep it simple, right? Bullet points and not long diatribes of things, right?
Exactly. And that's why you only focus on one objection. You don't try to overcome every objection in one email. And pick one, write 2 to 3 paragraphs, and call it good.
And at the end of every email, there should be a call to action of some sort, right? Book a discovery call, click here, right?
And add a PS.
Yeah.
Add a PS to the end of your emails because people will often skip the email and read the PS.
Yeah.
So if there's a special offer, limited time bonus, or call now to get this fixed, put that in the PS.
Got it.
So that's really, there's a lot of different ways to approach sales emails. That's my simplest tip. Email 1 is expand on the one-liner. Emails 2 through 5, just pick one objection per email and overcome that objection.
So fascinating. And obviously we can go into a much deeper dive on email marketing in particular, but if you've got this, set it up through your email marketing tool, like say MailChimp or something like that, you can automate these tasks so that when the PDF gets triggered, hey, I've opted in for the doodah checklist, whatever, it's all automated. You're not manually typing these emails every single time, right?
No.
And you can tag people that come in and they say they've downloaded the one that is the checklist for sales. They're struggling with sales. And then you can tag another person who's downloaded the checklist for productivity. And you understand that those are two different clients that need to be talked to differently. One struggling with time management, the other one struggling with revenue and money.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So, but start with one. If you don't have one sales sequence, then start with one and then go to another. Again, we don't want to make this too overwhelming or complicated. It's you really just sit down and write. And oftentimes when I'm talking with my clients and they say, well, I don't know what to write in this email, I literally say, well, I say, what is the number one reason why people don't buy from you? And they're like, well, we're too expensive. And I go, okay, I want you to imagine a customer is in here and just said those words to you. It's too expensive. What do you say back to them? And they have a whole thing. They're like, well, we are a huge investment. You're going to save so much money in the long run. I go, write that down. Write that down.
That thing.
Don't make it complicated. Start there. And then nurture emails are kind of an ongoing, continuing relationship because sometimes people don't buy on your first sales sequence or they don't buy the first time you come to your website. So a nurture email is something you send out once a week, once a month. You want to automate this as well. Even some of people just do it every quarterly, and you want to offer value in that. So let's say you mentioned the lawn care. The easiest thing for that is every season, at the beginning of the season, you say, here's the 5 things you need to do to keep your lawn happy and thriving in this season. That's it. You're not even doing a hard sell. You don't hard sell with nurture emails. You might say book an appointment, but you don't go buy now, buy now, buy now. It's a little light thing. And you just are keeping in touch with your customers so that when they are feeling that problem, when they're experiencing the problem and it's bothering them, you're the top of mind. So for us, the nurture email that we send out every week is for our podcast. And we do podcasts and offer a lot of tips and everything. And so all we do is say, hey, you want to learn how to do this? Listen to the podcast this week. We don't sell. We don't anything. It's like, are you struggling with this? Listen to the podcast this week. We're just giving value, value, value. And so people can, if you don't have a nurture sequence, I want you to start by writing one email a month. That's it. Just start once a month and connect with your customers. So just write them something and don't say, hi, this is how we're doing. These are the new things that are going on in our shop. Give them something of value. So even if it is like, hey, we're ready to launch a new line, how does that line solve a problem for the customer? So if you're launching a new line of clothing, you say, hey, looking for those new shorts for this year, here's 5 tips on trends that are coming your way. That's it. Now, they all may point to the shorts you sell because, you know what I mean? It's like, here's 5 trends that are coming. Oh, by the way, we cover all 5 in our clothing. But you're not really selling. You're just giving value, value, value. And start it by writing one a month. And stay connected with your customers. Stay in their phones. Even if they're just deleting every email they see, they're seeing your name come across their phone, across their email, and start there. And then you can build up to maybe once a week or twice a month, but start once a month. That alone will change things for you because you're going to be top of mind when people are ready to buy.
Yeah, I agree with all of this, and I'll add one on top of it. I think that whatever we put our attention to and where we focus, if we track the metrics, it's amazing. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
you get results because you're tracking it every week, every month, all the things. So if you are doing email marketing, track the metrics and see which ones are opening and closing. You can see all this very, very easily on the back end of MailChimp or otherwise, whatever tools you're using. And, then you're able to make those tiny tweaks to, whatever the email title is or the first line on it, and see where you can shift it without throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You're just tracking to make sure you're delivering results. And you talk about like not using quote unquote bowling balls in your emails. What does that mean?
Yeah. Bowling balls are information that people won't understand.
Yeah.
So anything that's complicated or inside language is bowling balls. And why we say that is because every time that you get given information, visually, verbally, written, your brain actually has to burn calories to process that information. So you have to imagine that as you're explaining the things that you offer to your customer, that they are working out essentially. And so imagine them like trying to hold a bowling ball. And you can hand them one, you might even be able to hand them two. But by the time you hand them the third or the fourth, they're going to drop all of them. They're not going to even try to carry the first one. And so you can't give your customer too much inside language or things they have to think too deeply about. Otherwise, they will tune you out. So keep your emails very simple. Keep them in street language, common vernacular. Keep the sentences short. Keep the paragraph short. Don't use commas. Commas are not your friend. So if you say, the pies that I sell are tasty, delicious, and yummy, well, they all say the same thing.
Yeah.
Pick one.
Yes.
Pick you one, because you're just now, don't use commas. Once you write an email, go back and see if you can take out every comma by changing the sentence and making it shorter.
Now that's a challenge I've not heard yet before. So test that. See if that works for you this week. And to wrap up, I know that you guys have such a brilliant story grid. We'll put a link in the show notes for everybody. And by the way, everything we talked about is in the show notes, thesimplifierspodcast.com. But can you just quickly go over the brilliance that is the story grid, the 7 steps there?
Yeah, so this is all based on how story works.
Yes, as you were talking earlier. Yes, to Yoda, to the Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, and story is based in formula. Every movie you've ever seen is pretty much the same. And if you're writing a screenplay, there might be 30 steps, but for the purposes of the most basic stories, there are 7 things that occur in every story. The first is that you have to meet a character and know what that character wants at the very beginning. The hero of the story, within the first about 5 minutes of a movie, you have to know what that character wants.
Which, side note, is not you. Let's put that out there.
That's your customer. I mentioned it earlier. I kind of teased a little bit. Your customer is the hero. I'll come back and kind of go through it with how it applies to your business, and I'll say that. But the first thing is in a movie, you meet a character, and you know what they want. They don't want 20 things. They want one thing. Yeah. Jason Bourne wants to know who he is. He's not trying to run a marathon or start a bakery or adopt a cat. It literally is he wants to know who he is. Yeah. Then the character encounters a problem. There's something that gets in the way. And that's really what the whole story is about, is them overcoming that problem. But they can't overcome the problem on their own. So then the third thing is they meet a guide. Somebody who has been there, done that, helps them win the day. And then the guide gives them a plan. That's the fourth thing, a way forward. Almost every movie you can hear those words, what's the plan? Or here's the plan. It's because we need to know as an audience there is a way over this impossible situation. Then there's a moment, number 5, that the hero is called to action, and they have to accept or reject a challenge. And then we know that this story can end either in success or failure. Yep. That it can be a happy ending or fall apart. So character, problem, guide, plan, call to action, success, and failure. Now, how that applies to marketing in particular is if you can figure out your customer story by writing down a sentence or two that has to do with each of those 7 elements of story, you have your customer story that you can put in your marketing. So the first thing is you identify a character and what they want. So what is it that your customer wants? And that's where I talked about being super, super clear. This has to be almost like what they would Google to find you.
Yes.
What does your customer want? Write down one sentence and put it off to the side. Then, what gets in the way of the customer getting what they want? What is the problem that they experience that gets in the way of that? Write that down. So you're looking for a good night's sleep on a mattress. The problem is most people don't understand that how to pick the mattress for them. That's the problem. And then you do an internal problem, which makes them feel. So it's all about feeling. So write down an external problem and an internal problem.
Yes.
Then you position yourself as the guide. You are helping your customer win the day. And how you do that is with empathy and authority. So you need to write down 2 sentences, one that says, I understand how hard this is, or I understand how you feel, but I've helped other people win the day, basically like show a testimony or write statistics or something like that. Then you need to give them a plan. So what are the 3 steps they need to take to buy your product or service or to use your product or service? Then you need a strong call to action that they must accept or reject, so the buy now. And then you need to cast a vision for success and failure. So failure is what happens when they don't buy your product. They're going to continue to be frustrated. They're going to continue to struggle with the problem.
Yeah.
Or success, what is their life like after they've used your product? They have more time, they have more money, they have more energy, they can do more things, all of that. So in our book, Building a Story Brand, we really walk through that. We actually do workshops where we spend 2 days with people in our live stream over Zoom, where we just kind of like sit there, and hundreds of people come to these workshops, and we have coaches that help you create your messaging. And so you just kind of sit down and you really write the talking points for those 7 pieces. Then those 7 pieces are what you can ultimately use on your website, in emails, your lead generator, all of that.
Your sales funnel, the whole
everything.
shebang.
Yep.
And so at this point, JJ, you drop the mic because it's like, boom. Everything that you just said is exactly the blueprint for anyone that's listening right now to take action, to make marketing simpler in your business, and to build a sales funnel. So if that didn't sell you right then and there on why you need to listen to JJ and Donald and all the team over the storyboard, I don't know what will. So here's the thing. He's got a new podcast coming out. They are going to Marketing Made Simple podcast, which launches June 23rd, correct?
Yes.
So while Don's having a baby, you're going to take over the podcast helm and continue all of this brilliance here as well.
Yeah.
And just a reminder to everybody, also a freebie for you guys. So you can go to their website, 5minutemarketingmakeover.com. And there are 3 videos with tips to help you make tangible changes to your marketing. It's going to actually increase your revenue and grow your business. All of the links are in the show notes, so you guys can find that and click over and check it out. So wherever you're listening to this podcast right now, go ahead and do a search for Marketing Made Simple podcast. Subscribe now, and you will not be regretting that whatsoever, in my opinion. So, JJ, we're going to wrap up here because I've got a couple of questions I like to ask everyone. And again, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, it's a wealth of knowledge here that you've given us today. So we greatly appreciate you. So tell us, what is one book or blog that you're reading these days that's either inspiring you or poking holes and challenging your belief system?
Effortless by Ron McEwen. He wrote a book called Essentialism that was pretty amazing. But then Effortless, basically, Essentialism says focus on what's important. Well, then that blows up and everything's important for him. Like he's having, senators and congresspeople and huge corporations get in touch with him, and he kind of burned out.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to figure out, how do you be high performing while also making it easy? And it really has given me permission to, I would say the controlling idea of the book is burnout is not a badge of honor.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I would say, the controlling idea. And it's given people like me who are high achievers permission to do things a little bit easier and a little bit more effortless and still accomplish a lot. So it's a fascinating book.
It's fantastic. It's a great mention. It's in the show notes so people can click over, find that book as well. So tell me, who is one person in your network, somebody you know personally, you just feel is up to brilliant things? We could shine a spotlight on them, and who knows, maybe one day we'll have them on the podcast.
Yeah. The person I'd actually like to spotlight who's been challenging me lately is Robin Henderson Espinoza. And they are a queer theologian, and this is Pride Month. So that's really been kind of challenging me. And they run an organization called Activist Theology that really works to challenge people's beliefs and make the world a better place for people who are living on the margins. All people of color, people of different gender expressions and identity and sexuality, and without running from the church and from religion, actually working to build bridges and create safe space for everybody. So Robin is a good friend of mine, and they're challenging me a lot.
Love it. I love hearing about people just like them that are just doing incredible things. So we will link them up in the show notes. Again, you can go over to the simplifierspodcast.com and find out more about the work they're doing there. So I believe that gratitude and simplicity go hand in hand. Tell me, what are you grateful for today?
I am loving the Nashville weather. No, I am absolutely. It's like not too hot and muggy yet. I can be outside. The fireflies are just coming out in the evening.
Yes.
So right now that is giving me life.
Me too. I'm in Texas now, and just having Texas sunsets and sun skies every morning, I'm just like, yes, the world's changing again. It's reopening. Yeah. It's feeling good. I feel the hope.
Soon. It'll be hot and muggy soon, but for now I am grateful for this.
Yes. So if people want to connect with you, JJ, is Instagram the best place online?
Yeah. That's really that's the place I'm most active. So.
Fabulous. So we'll put that link in the show notes for people, but it's Dr. J.J. Peterson on Instagram. And of course, their website is storybrand.com. That's where you can find all the things. So JJ, I just want to acknowledge you. I think the work you guys are doing is so brilliant, and you're helping so many people in little and big ways all around the world. So I encourage you, keep going. You are on the right path.
Oh, thanks so much.
So my final question for you today is this. Yeah. Someone somewhere is listening to us right now, and she is looking at her marketing strategy and going, holy cow, it's been a hot mess for way too long. How do we simplify this down? Yeah. What's one thing you could whisper into her ear right now just to encourage her in this moment?
So many of us, when we start creating marketing and messaging, and I include myself in this, think that there's magic words out there that we're like swinging at, trying to catch, and if we miss, it's all over. You are the writer of the story. That's the most powerful thing I can say is that, when somebody chooses to write a movie and they say, this is a movie about love, they get to decide if that couple meets at a coffee shop or at a bookstore or trips over each other in the park. They get to choose the way the story is written. And with your marketing, you get to choose the way the story is written. Now, it comes from your experience, your knowledge, and listening to your customers for sure. But trust yourself. Trust that you know the story that needs to be written. And one of the things we say at StoryBrand is we don't laminate anything, that we put it out there and that you might change it, you might tweak it a little bit. But trust yourself. Trust that you know the words. Trust that you know the story that you want to invite your customers into, and trust that when they experience your product or service, you are making their lives better. Your whole goal is to be their guide, help them win the day, and when they win the day, you win the day too.
Big love to you. Big love. Thank you so much, JJ. Take care.
Mary.